Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Kai and this is my crafty corner of the internet. I hope you've been having a wonderful day and I've got some really fun updates to share with everybody today. So I've actually had a very productive January when it comes to stitching this year. I don't have a total stitch count that I completed. That's just not something that I personally track. And one of my main focus pieces is a paper pattern that is not full coverage, and I'm personally not going to take the time to count every individual stitch because that's too much. But I did manage to stitch just about every single day in January. There were only 2 days that I didn't do any stitching. The 24th, I think I was just kind of like really exhausted, and I just wanted to lounge around and do nothing that day. And then the 28th, I was sick. Thankfully, I'm much better now, but I just needed to rest that day. But otherwise, I think I did pretty decent. I got a lot of progress done on the snowbear stocking, and I've been managing to keep up with the Secret Grove stitch along, which I'll show you all here in a little bit. But before I get into sharing the progress that I made in January, I do want to talk about a couple other things. The first thing is something very helpful that I found recently. I don't know how many of you are into planners as I am, but I love planners. And when I found this cross-stitch planner by Stitched Modern, I was like, this is absolutely perfect. I have been looking for something to keep track of all of my progress now that I'm doing these flosstube videos, and this is actually pretty perfect. So just as a quick note, this book that I'm showing you is an 8.5 by 5.5, so a half letter sheet disc bound planner that I made myself. The rings I got off of Amazon. The clear plastic cover came from Cloth and Paper, and this is artwork that I drew myself many years ago. I also have a disc bound punch, so I print off my own papers and punch them and put them on the discs. I'll leave the link for the planner in the description box, but it is a PDF for an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. I was a graphic designer before I became a parent, so I edited down into a 8.5 by 5.5, so that way I could, put it in my disc bound book. Just wanted to put that little disclaimer. This is an edited version for my own personal use. I also didn't print out every single page. Like you actually get quite a bit, like quite a few pages. Like you can have like an entire like yearly tracker. They've got like monthly trackers where you can like record like how many, like just a lot of stuff that I'm not interested in, but I was really interested in this project details page, so I printed that off, and then a few other pages too. So I'll probably cover everything at the like how I'm using this planner at the end of the video for those of you who are interested. But I just wanted to give a quick little mention to this because I found it really, really helpful in like keeping track of all of my details for these flosstube videos. If you see me glance down, this is what I'm referencing. So with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the actual episode. So in January, I have not finished any of the whips that I had carried into the month. I'm still working on the snowbear stocking, and the Secret Grove is not yet fully released, so I don't have any like stitching finishes, but I do have some fully finishes to share off. First off, I framed my Emperor tarot card. This is a design by Needlelot Designs. I did modify it just a little bit. The Emperor, like the text and the frame and the number up here were supposed to be stitched in black, but I opted to give it a little bit of color because I I thought it would really complement the piece more. And plus blue is like my favorite color, so of course I had to stitch the frame in blue. So yeah, this is a stitch that I finished last year, and now I have it framed so I can hang it up in my office, and I'm really excited about that because I do love penguins. Penguins are my favorite animal, and this is like such a gorgeous, gorgeous pattern. I had so much fun stitching it. I just really love all of needlelot Designs patterns. The colors are always so vibrant, and I just love the way that things are shaded. It just makes my heart happy. And then the next thing that I framed, I'm not fully sure I like how it's not like fully framed, because I'm not quite sure I like this, so I haven't finished the back side of it yet, but I have the plants in petrichor stitched along, hooped up. It's not, like I said, the back's not finished. I just have all the excess like pinned back here, because I'm not quite sure I like the size of this hoop. When I saw the frame, the completed frame, I was like, this absolutely needs to be in something round. Like it needs to be in an oval. But it's kind of hard to find the size of oval that I need. Most of the time when you get like an oval hoop, the hardware is hung portrait style, and like obviously I need it to be landscape, so that kind of limited me to these rubber wood hoops. And I'm not quite sure I like how tight this is. It actually is cutting off a little bit of the stitching at the bottom. I mean, this is just like some bench legs, so I'm okay with that, but I'm not sure I like how tight it is up here in the corners. I don't know. You guys will have to let me know what you think. I might be okay with it in the end. I'm just gonna have to leave it like this for about another week or so before I commit to cutting off the excess fabric and then backing it with some felt. Otherwise, I really like the color of the hoop. It's this nice like dark walnut ash. I don't remember what the color was. Yeah, I enjoyed stitching this. This was my very first ever stitch along, and I think this was a really good first stitch along to do because the parts came every week, and they were about like 200 to 300 stitches per part outside of like the frames. Like the frames were obviously much more, but oh, and this is designed by Fine Frog Stitching. So, and I will link where you can get the patterns in the description as well. So now with the finishes out of the way, let's go ahead and get into the whips that I carried into January and where I'm at now. So first up, we have the snowbears stocking, which is a kit by Dimensions. Here's where I was at the start of January. So in January, I stitched on this project for 17 days. And when I started January 1st, I was roughly around 13% completed. And now this is where I'm at now. So I'm stitching this on a scroll frame because it's quite long and I don't like moving hoops. Here is the top half of the pattern that I have stitched. That blur is my child's name, you know, just blurred for privacy. So I went from 13% complete to roughly about 58% done. I'm right now currently working on the toe, just stitching in the snow background. There will be a little bear here and then another little bear in this area. Otherwise, like the top half is all, like the top portion of the stocking is all stitched minus the bear that goes here. I'm working on page 3 of 4 right now, so my plan right now is to stitch at least like all of the white on page 3. That way I can then open the pattern up, stitch across the page fold, and then I'd be fully over onto page 4. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. These cardinals are really, really cute. They're adorable. And then there are a few more up top that you saw in the picture. So actually, I'm quite surprised with the amount of progress that I made, but the top half of the stocking is not full coverage, so it actually stitched up fairly quickly. I think I did a good chunk of it just within like 4 days. I think I had done a pretty decent chunk. But now that we're into this part, there's a lot of stitches. Thankfully the snow is just all half stitch, so it's going a little bit quicker, but it is 4 strands. So it's just gonna be a little slow and monotonous for the next little bit. I think once I get done stitching page 3, I will flop over to page 4, maybe stitch one of the bears, or stitch like maybe the scarf. Like both bears are wearing scarves. So I think I may take a break once I get done stitching the toe of the stocking, just flip over to the next page and work on something that isn't white snow. And then my next whip is the Secret Grove Stitch Along by Needlelot Designs. So when January began, we were sitting at part 3, and then there were 2 releases in January, and I was able to keep up. So I'm sitting at 5 of 10 parts complete for the Secret Grove. So like when you last saw it, it was just this part. And then part 4 was the apple, the acorn, and this cute little chipmunk, I think. So this stitch along is coming with a cute little story too. So like this owl's name is Helios. I think the chipmunk's name is Thistle or Thimble. Thistle sounds right. And then part 5 is the pocket watch and the quill. This is coming along like really cute. Like it's super cute. I'm kind of hoping to see, like I'm really interested in seeing like what other kinds of animals we're going to be stitching. I have a feeling there's definitely going to be a badger. I just kind of, this kind of thing just kind of seems like it's going to have a badger somewhere. I'm hoping maybe for a hedgehog too. Hedgehogs are cute. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the rest of that stitch along. It looks like there's only going to be 1 release in February, around the middle of the month. So I stitched 12 total days. Like the 2 releases were stitched over 12 total days. And I have a really cool, just wanted to share this really quick. So I drew in these boxes with the pen, or the release days, and then you can see like there's the release, and then I stitched all of these days, and then I finished that part, and so then I highlighted it in gray because I couldn't do any stitching there because there was nothing to stitch. And then another release day, part 5 was much smaller, and that was by design, so that way people who were behind had time to catch up, because I managed to stitch part 5 in 2 days, and now I don't have anything to stitch until February 14th when the next release comes out. So that's coming along quite nicely. I'm really proud of myself for being able to keep up with this stitch along, because the parts are much larger than the plants and petrichor stitch along parts were. And so then, yeah, so now we are on to my new starts. I try not to have more than 3 projects ongoing at a time, just because that's the number of project cases that I have, and I'm not looking to add any more. Like I want to make sure I am actually finishing the things that I start. So 3 whips is the perfect amount for me. And the only reason I have 3 right now is because I have one project on a scroll frame literally lives on the scroll frame. It stays in the stitching stand and I don't move it anywhere. I'm trying something new this year where I go out to a local coffee shop at least like one time a week to do some, just to kind of get out of the house, do something that I enjoy outside of the house. So I need something portable, right? And since the Secret Grove is a stitch along that I kind of like to keep up with, there's going to be times where I don't have it, I'll catch up and then I'll have to wait for the next release. So I bought a new pattern for something small to take with me to the local coffee shop. So this is Mount Fuji by Needleminder Layer. Here's what the completed project's gonna look like. So here's where I'm at so far. I started this January 16th. I'm currently sitting at roughly 21% finished. I'm stitching this on 18 count Celestine Ada from Fiber on a Whim. And I'm stitching this with the called for DMC's -1 substitution. I'm using, the pattern calls for 894 for the outline of these flowers, but I chose to substitute in 957 because I already had that in my stash. I mean, I was missing a few other colors, so I did have to place an order, but these little projects I try to stitch from stash as much as I can without like drastically changing the piece. I'll bring it in close so you can see. This, typically I like to grid my projects, but this one I decided not to because I kind of bought it almost on a whim. And so like I bought it the day that I wanted to go out and stitch. So I didn't have time to sit down and grid. So I figured I'd just mark the center, stitch, and then work my way up to the top of the pattern so that I could then stitch downwards from there. And I felt like this kind of pattern was really easy to do because you've got different bands, like, you know, you've got the outline of the mountain and then different bands of colors in the sky. So it's actually quite easy to count and then stitch a little bit and then count up higher and then stitch a little more, and do that until you get to the top of the pattern. I have problems holding numbers larger than 5 in my head, and that's usually why I like to grid, but a little piece like this, I'm actually not having too hard of a time counting things. I did have to frog a few sections, like over here I had stitched this band of blue up one too high, so it kind of would have cut off or smushed my flowers a little bit, but it wasn't that big of a section to rip out and redo. And I think I was off over here somewhere too once. Yeah, so this is my out and about stitch. The fabric is left over from when I was stitching the Emperor Tarot. So I was really looking for something small that I could fit on this, and it is barely fitting. Like I'm running into the hoop edge here and here really bad. I'm definitely going to need to sew some extension fabric just to help me get this back in the hoop after I wash it so I can frame it. I'm definitely going to finish it in a hoop. It may not be this hoop because this is like a really nice lightweight hoop that I like to use for stitching. So I may buy another hoop to actually finish this in. But yeah, so I'm sitting at 21% complete, and I try to stitch this only on Thursdays when I'm out at the coffee shop, but I have picked it up to stitch just when we want to hang out in our living room versus the man cave where I have my stocking set up. The Mount Fuji I stitched for 8 total days in January and went from 0% to 21%. So yeah, once that one finishes, then I'll just replace it with another small which is probably going to be this. This is the other kit that I bought here in January. Honestly, I kind of forgot that I bought this, and that's why I picked up the Mount Fuji, because it was a PDF, so I could just have it. But yeah, I forgot I had ordered this online. This is a Dimensions kit. Where's Fresh Flowers Dimensions kit. Yeah, no, I just think it's a really pretty pattern. And I like that it's a small kit, so I can, when I finish the Mount Fuji design, then I will probably put that in my coffee shop craft case. So I think that's about everything that I've worked on. Everything that I wanted to mention. I know I talked about showing off the planner book, but I think I'll probably do that in a completely separate video if anybody's interested in seeing that. Like I said, I'll leave a link to the Stitched Modern website where you can pick this up. It's an 8.5 by 11 PDF for the planner. It comes with a lot of other pages that I haven't shown off. If you're interested in seeing that, just like a closer look at my stitching planner, go ahead and let me know. I'd also like to hear, like, you guys think the Plants and Petrichor frame needs to be a little bit bigger. I'll try to see if I can find a bigger frame. I don't want like too huge of a hoop, but because I don't want too much dead space. I don't know. Yeah, just let me know what you guys think. So my goal for February is, much the same as January. Just keep stitching on the Snow Bear stocking, keep up with the Secret Grove stitch along, which there's only one part release in February, so I don't think that'll be too terrible. I'll be stitching on Mount Fuji whenever I have a chance. Okay, so yeah, that's all I've got for you guys today. I'll end this here, and I will see you next month. Bye friends, happy stitching!